Welcome to another QTip. In today's episode, we're going to discuss REPACK allocation numbers and what they mean for you. Stay tuned and don't forget to like and subscribe to our channel. All right, today we're going to be going through the latest REPACK allocation numbers. We at QCOM gleaned through all of the public Form 399 data to determine the overall status of the REPACK program. These numbers I'm about to show you are from last week's data poll. Question of the day is, how much money do you think is left? Now we have two major categories that we track: full powers, Class A digital TV stations, and low power TV stations, LPTVs. We are now over 3 years into this relocation effort, and we started with $1.75 billion allocated towards it, and then we added, or the FCC added $1 billion to that. So that gives us a grand total of $2.75 billion set aside for this project. As most of you know, the process of getting invoices submitted through the FCC portal, getting feedback, revising invoices and resubmitting and getting them paid and reimbursed has been a little bit difficult. So it's understandable that some stations have been slow to even get started on this process, but as we'll see in a second, you need to get going. Okay, let's look at the numbers. Here you can see the total allocated amount of $2.75 billion, which is not labeled, but it's the big circle on the left, with a small portion for LPTVs and translators, and then an even smaller portion of $50 million for FM stations. Now, we don't track the FM stations. We do track the LPTVs and the full powers. Looking at just the totals, you can see that the full power stations have already submitted almost $1.5 billion worth of actual invoices, and that leaves roughly $1 billion left to be drawn from. That may seem like a lot, but keep in mind that the majority of these costs associated with the stations are coming from two major sections. And if you look at the bottom right-hand side of the screen, in the full powers actuals versus estimated cost chart, you can see that the two major categories are the transmitter and tower equipment and rigging, which those expenses usually come after you've completed your engineering and you've done your tower analysis and whatnot. I don't have it showing you here, but I can tell you that about 13% of full power stations have not submitted for even their transmitter costs yet, which means they still have a ways to go. Also keep in mind the October 8th deadline, 2021, for submitting all of your invoices into the FCC if you are phase 0 through 5. Again, that's full powers. If you're one of these stations and you're falling behind, give us a call and we'll help you through the next steps. Low power TV stations, as you can see here, they've submitted about a quarter of their total allowable $150 million. So $35 million so far, almost 36. Keep in mind that if you're an LPTV station, there's no going back for more money later. When the $150 million runs dry, that's it. And guess what? If you add up all of the estimated costs of the LPTV stations on the top right-hand side of the graph, you'll see that they're anticipating over $150 million worth of expenses. And as most projects go, you may not know what you need until you get down to the nitty-gritty and you start doing the engineering, you start doing the planning, and you start transitioning. So unfortunately, there may be some stations at the end of this project who will get to the end and they'll go to submit their last invoice and there may not be enough money in the pot. And that goes for any type of expense. That could be your transmitter, that could be your antenna, that could be tower riggers or attorney fees. That's why it's important to get your invoices submitted quickly. A little tip for you stations who know you'll have expenses, but you're not ready to submit them just yet. You're not ready to incur the expenses just yet. Little tip is to submit your quotes first. Now what this does is allocate those funds to the station so that you'll have a better shot at getting 100% reimbursement when the time comes to transition and incur those expenses. If you or your PM doesn't know how to do this, give us a call and we'll help you through it. This may not be the case for the full powers. As you probably already know, the full powers do get treated a little bit differently. And they could have the ability to request more funds as we get further on in the process. But for LPTVs, not so. So get your invoices in quickly because it's going to be first come, first serve. We're seeing reimbursements in roughly 2 weeks. If you're seeing anything over that, there's something wrong. Give us a call. We'll help you out. We work with the FCC all the time. We know how to get things approved quickly. That's all for today, folks. Stay tuned for future Q-tips as we move through this program. Until next time, be safe, be hygienic, and be reimbursed.